Jake Morrison wiped the grease from his hands with an old rag. The repair shop was quiet this morning. Only the soft hum of machines filled the air. He looked around his small workshop on Haven's Rest Space Station. Tools hung on every wall. Half-built engines sat on metal tables. This was his home now. The door chimed. Jake looked up to see 3 figures walking in. The first was tall with pointed ears and long silver hair. His clothes were made of fine materials that seemed to glow. Behind him walked a woman with the same pointed ears. Her hair was golden and reached her waist. She wore a simple blue dress, but moved like a fighter. The third person had skin that looked like living crystal. Her eyes were bright purple. Human, the tall male said. His voice was cold. I am Prince Aldrich Starweaver of the High Elven Court. My ship has broken down. You will fix it. Jake raised an eyebrow. I will fix it if you ask nicely and pay my price. Prince Aldrich's face turned red. How dare you speak to me like that? Do you know who I am? Yeah, you just told me. You're a guy with a broken ship. Jake crossed his arms. Same as any other customer here. The elven woman stepped forward. Please excuse my betrothed. I am Princess Lyra Moonwhisper. We would be grateful for your help. Jake noticed how she said betrothed like it tasted bad. He also saw how Prince Aldrich grabbed her arm roughly. Lyra, do not speak to this inferior being, Aldrich said. The crystal woman spoke up. I am Zara of the Zephyrian people. I am here as a neutral witness. Her voice sounded like music. Perhaps we can discuss this calmly. Jake looked at Prince Aldrich. What exactly is wrong with your ship? The power core keeps failing. My engineers cannot fix it. Aldrich waved his hand. Magic does not work on it. Let me guess. You tried to use spell-enhanced crystals in a human-made fusion core? Aldrich's eyes went wide. How did you know that? Because I'm not stupid. Magic and fusion. Don't mix well. The energy patterns fight each other. Jake grabbed his toolkit. I can fix it, but it will cost you. Name your price, human. 5,000 credits. Prince Aldrich laughed. 5,000? I spend more than that on wine. Here. He threw a small bag on the counter. 10,000, but I want it done in 1 hour. Jake picked up the bag. 1 hour? That's impossible. This kind of repair takes at least 4 hours. Impossible? Aldrich's eyes gleamed. Are you saying you cannot do it? I'm saying it cannot be done safely in 1 hour. Ah, so humans are slow workers. I thought as much. Aldrich smiled cruelly. In my court, our engineers could do this in minutes. Jake felt his anger rising. Your engineers are the ones who broke it in the first place. Perhaps we could make this interesting, Aldrich said. He pulled out a bottle of purple liquid and took a drink. A wager. If you can fix my ship in 1 hour, I will pay you 50,000 credits. And if I can't? Then you admit humans are inferior to elves. Aldrich's voice was getting louder. The alien wine was making him bold. Princess Lyra looked worried. Aldrich, perhaps this is not wise. Silence. I am speaking. Aldrich turned back to Jake. What do you say, human? Are you brave enough to accept? Jake looked at the broken parts he could see through the shop window. The elven ship sat in the docking bay. Smoke was coming from its engines. I don't think you understand how badly damaged your ship is. Scared? Aldrich laughed. I thought so. Humans talk big but have no courage. That did it. Jake stepped closer to the elf. Fine, but let's make this really interesting. I'll bet my entire workshop against something of equal value. Aldrich looked around the shop. This pile of junk? It is worth nothing to me. Then bet something that is worth something. Aldrich thought for a moment. The wine was making his judgment poor. Very well. I will bet. He looked at Princess Lyra. I will bet my betrothal contract. Princess Lyra went pale. Aldrich, no. You cannot. I can do whatever I want, Aldrich shouted. You are mine to do with as I please. Zara stepped forward. Prince Aldrich, are you certain? A betrothal contract is a serious legal document. I am certain this human will fail, and then everyone will see how weak his kind is. Jake looked at Princess Lyra. Her golden eyes were full of fear and anger. She was trapped by elven law. She could not speak against her betrothed in public. Deal, Jake said. But I want a neutral witness to make it official. I will serve as witness, Zara said. This wager is now legally binding under galactic law. Jake walked to his workbench and picked up a small device. This is a quantum flux analyzer. It will tell us exactly what's wrong with your ship. He pointed it at the elven ship through the window. Numbers and symbols appeared on the small screen. Jake frowned as he read them. What does it say? Aldrich demanded. Your ship has 7 major problems and about 20 minor ones. The power core is completely fried, the navigation system is burned out, and someone tried to force incompatible magic through the engines. Can you fix it or not? Jake looked at the numbers again. With normal tools and normal time, it would take him 6 hours minimum. But he had an idea. It was risky, but it might work. I can fix it, but not the way you think. What do you mean? Jake walked to a large machine in the corner. This is a molecular rebuilder. I designed it myself. Instead of fixing each part, I can rebuild the entire power system from scratch. Aldrich looked confused. That is impossible. Magic thinks it's impossible. Science disagrees. Jake started the machine. It hummed to life. Princess Lyra, I'm sorry you got dragged into this. She gave him a small smile. It is not your fault. My betrothed makes his own choices. Zara watched. Everything with interest. This should be fascinating. Jake worked quickly. The molecular rebuilder could create new parts faster than any normal factory, but it needed perfect programming. One mistake, and the whole thing would explode. Sweat dripped down Jake's face as he worked. His fingers flew over the control panel. Numbers and equations filled the screen. This was the most complex repair job he had ever attempted. 30 minutes passed. The machine was building new engine parts at incredible speed. Jake could see them taking shape through the clear walls of the construction chamber. Time! Prince Aldrich called out. Jake looked at the clock. 1 hour exactly. He pressed the final button. The machine beeped and opened its doors. Done, Jake said. Aldrich ran to the window. His ship's engines were glowing with clean blue light instead of smoke. The warning lights had all turned green. Zara checked her scanning device. All systems show normal operation. The repair is complete and functional. Prince Aldrich's face went white. No, this cannot be. It is done, Zara announced. Jake Morrison has won the wager. The betrothal contract now belongs to him. Aldrich stared at Jake in shock. Then he looked at Princess Lyra. This is your fault somehow. My fault. Lyra's voice was quiet but angry. You are the one who gambled with my life. I am leaving, Aldrich declared, and I am taking my ship. You can take your ship, Jake said, but the princess stays here. The contract is mine now. Aldrich pointed a shaking finger at Jake. This is not over, human. I will return with lawyers and soldiers. You will regret this day. He stormed out of the shop. His footsteps echoed down the hallway until they faded away. Princess Lyra stood, very still. Her hands were shaking slightly. I'm sorry, Jake said quietly. I didn't think he would actually bet you. It is elven law, she replied. A betrothal contract can be transferred. I am now legally bound to you instead of him. Zara tilted her head. This is a most unusual situation. I believe I should stay and observe what happens next. Jake looked at both women. His small apartment above the shop suddenly felt very crowded. But there was no going back now. The wager was won, and everything had changed. 3 days had passed since the wager. Jake's small apartment above the repair shop felt like a different world now. Princess Lyra sat at his kitchen table, staring at a cup of coffee. She had never tasted anything like it before. It's bitter, she said. You can add sugar? Jake offered. He was fixing a broken scanner at the counter. His hands moved automatically while his mind worried about other things. Zara floated near the window. Her crystal body caught the light from the space station's artificial sun. This beverage is unknown to my people. We absorb energy directly from light sources. Must be nice, Jake muttered. No grocery bills. Princess Lyra stood up suddenly. I should do something useful. In the royal palace, there were always tasks to complete. Like what? Jake asked. I studied languages. I practiced sword fighting. I learned battle magic. She looked around the small apartment. But here I do not know what to do. Jake thought for a moment. Can you cook? Cook? Lyra looked confused. We had servants for that. Right. Of course you did. Jake set down his tools. Want to learn? Lyra's eyes brightened. Yes, I would like that very much. Jake opened his small refrigerator. Let's start simple. How about eggs? I know what eggs are, Lyra said proudly. Good start. Jake pulled out a carton. We'll make scrambled eggs. He showed her how to crack the eggs into a bowl. Lyra watched carefully. When it was her turn, she hit the egg too hard. Shell pieces fell into the bowl. Oh no, she said. I broke it wrong. It's okay. Happens to everyone. Jake picked out the shell pieces. Try again, but gentler this time. Lyra tried again. This time the egg cracked perfectly. She smiled like she had just won a battle. Now we add a little milk and mix it up, Jake explained. Lyra picked up the fork and started mixing, but she mixed too fast. Egg flew everywhere. It splattered on the counter, the wall, and Jake's shirt. Sorry, Lyra's face turned red. I am terrible at this. No, you're learning, Jake said. He wiped egg from his cheek. Everyone makes mistakes. Zara drifted closer. This process is fascinating. Humans and elves require such complex food preparation. What do elves usually eat? Jake asked Lyra. Fruits, vegetables, and special bread made with magic, she answered. Everything is prepared by specialists using ancient recipes. Magic bread? That actually sounds pretty good. Lyra looked surprised. Really? Most humans think elven food is strange. I think most humans have never tried it. They finished making the eggs together. Jake cooked them while Lyra watched. The smell filled the small kitchen. It smells wonderful, Lyra said. Jake divided the eggs onto 2 plates. Try it. Lyra took a small bite. Her eyes went wide. This is delicious. It tastes completely different from royal food. Different how? It tastes real. Like something made with care instead of duty. Jake felt something warm in his chest. I'm glad you like it. After breakfast, Jake went down to work in his shop. Lyra followed him. Can I help? She asked. Jake looked at the delicate elven princess, then at his greasy, dangerous machinery. It's pretty dirty work. I do not mind dirt, Lyra said. I was trained as a warrior before I was trained as a princess. Really? What kind of training? Lyra picked up a heavy wrench with one hand. She spun it like it weighed nothing. Sword? Fighting, battle magic, and combat tactics. I was supposed to defend the royal family. That's impressive. Jake handed her a broken circuit board. Think you can handle delicate work too? Lyra examined the board carefully. Her fingers moved over the tiny components like she was reading a map. This connection is broken here, and this part is burned out. Exactly right. How did you know that? Magic items break too. I learned to repair them as part of my training. Jake found himself smiling. Want to help me fix a cargo hauler? They worked together for hours. Lyra proved to be a quick learner and careful worker. Her elven eyes could see tiny details that Jake missed. Her steady hands could reach into spaces too small for his fingers. You're good at this, Jake said, as they finished repairing an engine. I like it, Lyra replied. It feels good to build something instead of just learning to destroy things. Zara had been watching them work. Your cooperation is remarkable. Most species have difficulty working together so quickly. What about your people? Jake asked. Do Zephyrians work well with others? We are generally peaceful, but we prefer to observe rather than participate. This is why I find your partnership so interesting. That evening, Jake made dinner for all 3 of them. Pasta with tomato sauce, something simple but filling. Lyra helped, and this time she only spilled a little sauce on the counter. Jake, Lyra said as they ate, what will happen to me? According to elven law, I belong to you now. Jake nearly choked on his pasta. You don't belong to me. Nobody belongs to anybody. But the betrothal contract? The contract is just paper. You're a person, not property. Lyra looked confused. But elven law says, we're not in elven space. We're on a neutral station. Jake set down his fork. You can make your own choices here. What if I choose to stay? Lyra asked quietly. Jake's heart started beating faster. Why would you want to stay? You're a princess. You could go anywhere. In the palace, I was alone even when surrounded by people. Here, I feel useful, needed. She looked at him directly. Happy? Zara made a soft, chiming sound. Among my people, happiness is considered the highest form of wealth. Jake felt that warm feeling in his chest again, but he also felt scared. Lyra, you barely know me. And Prince Aldrich will probably come back with lawyers or soldiers. Let him come, Lyra said. Her voice had an edge of steel. I am not helpless, and I am tired of being told what to do. Later that night, Jake lay in his small bed, staring at the ceiling. Lyra was sleeping on the couch in the living room. Zara was in the spare room, though she didn't really sleep like humans did. He could hear Lyra moving around. She was probably having trouble sleeping too. Everything had changed so fast. Jake got up and walked to the kitchen for a glass of water. Lyra was sitting at the table in her nightgown, looking out the window at the stars. Can't sleep? He asked. I keep thinking about Aldrich, about how angry he was when he left. She turned to look at Jake. Are you afraid of him? Jake sat down across from her. A little. He has money and connections. He could cause trouble. I will not let him hurt you, Lyra said firmly. You don't have to protect me? Yes, I do. Lyra's golden eyes were serious. You saved me from a life I did not want. That makes you important to me. Jake felt his face getting warm. I just won a bet. I didn't save anyone. You could have won money. Instead, you won my freedom. Even if you do not realize it yet. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching ships come and go from the station's docking bays. Jake? Lyra said softly. Yeah? Thank you. For treating me like a person instead of a prize. Jake looked at her sitting there in the starlight. Her golden hair fell around her shoulders like liquid metal. She was beautiful, but more than that, she was brave and kind and smart. Thank you for staying, he said. The next morning, Zara announced that she was extending her stay on the station. I have sent a message to my government, she said. I told them I am conducting important research on interspecies relationships. Is that what this is? Jake asked. Research? Zara's crystal features shifted in what might have been a smile. Perhaps. Or perhaps I simply enjoy your company. But don't you have important diplomat things to do? This may be the most important thing I have ever done, Zara said seriously. Jake realized that his quiet life was becoming more complicated every day. But as he watched Lyra humming while she cleaned the kitchen, and Zara examining his tools, with fascination, he found that he didn't mind the complications at all. That afternoon, a message arrived on Jake's communication terminal. It was from Prince Aldrich's lawyers. They were demanding Lyra's immediate return and threatening legal action. Jake showed the message to both women. Let them come, Lyra said calmly. I am ready to fight for my freedom. And I will help, Zara added. Zephyrian law supports individual choice above all contracts. Jake looked at both of them. 3 days ago, he had been alone. Now he had 2 incredible women willing to fight beside him. It was terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Okay, he said. Then we fight. The alarm started screaming at 3 in the morning. Jake jumped out of bed and ran to his window. Red lights flashed all over Haven's Rest Station. In the distance, he could see explosions lighting up the darkness of space. What's happening? Lyra appeared beside him, already dressed and holding a sword that seemed to glow with its own light. Pirates, by the look of it, Jake said grimly. He had seen attacks like this before during his military days. Zara floated into the room, her crystal body pulsing with worried purple light. My sensors detect 15 hostile ships approaching the station. They are heavily armed. Jake's communication terminal buzzed. A voice crackled through the static. All residents, this is Station Commander Lisa Park. We are under attack by the Red Comet pirates. All able-bodied individuals report to defense stations immediately. I have to help, Jake said, grabbing his tool belt and emergency kit. We will come with you, Lyra declared. This isn't your fight. Yes, it is. Lyra's voice was firm. This is our home now, too. They ran through the station corridors. Emergency lights cast everything in an eerie red glow. Other residents hurried past them, some carrying weapons, others helping evacuate children and elderly people. At the main defense center, Commander Park was shouting orders to a group of station security officers. She was a tough-looking woman, with short gray hair and scars on her hands. "Jake Morrison?" she called out when she saw him. "Thank God. We need every engineer we can get. The main defense grid is failing. What about the station's weapons?" "Half of them are offline. The pirates hit us with some kind of electromagnetic pulse." Commander Park looked at Lyra and Zara. "Who are they?" "Friends," Jake said quickly. "Lyra is trained in combat, and Zara has advanced technology. Fine. We need all the help we can get." Commander Park pointed to a wall display showing the station's layout. "The main power coupling is damaged. Without it, we can't fire our biggest guns." Jake studied the display. "I can fix it, but I'll need to get to the outer section. That's dangerous during an attack." "I'll go with you," Lyra said. "So will I," Zara added. Commander Park looked skeptical. "This isn't a game. People are going to die." "Then we better stop talking and start moving," Lyra said. The outer section of the station was a nightmare. The walls shook constantly from weapons fire. Emergency bulkheads had sealed off sections where the hull was breached. Jake led them through maintenance tunnels that most people didn't know existed. "There!" Jake pointed to a massive junction box ahead of them. Sparks flew from its damaged panels. "That's our target." As they approached, an explosion rocked the tunnel. Part of the ceiling collapsed, blocking their path back. "We're trapped," Zara observed calmly. "Not trapped," Jake said, opening his toolkit. "Just committed to finishing the job." He began working on the damaged systems while Lyra watched the corridors for danger. Her sword glowed brighter, ready for battle. Zara used her crystal abilities to scan for threats. "Jake," Zara said suddenly, "I'm detecting movement. Something is coming through the breach in the outer hull." "Pirates?" Jake asked, not looking up from his work. "No, something else. Multiple life forms, heavily armed." Lyra raised her sword. "How many?" "6. No, 8. They're spreading out too. Surround us." The first pirate appeared around the corner. He was human, but his clothes were dirty and his face was scarred. He carried a plasma rifle and had cruel eyes. "Well, well," the pirate said. "What do we have here? Looks like some station rats trying to fix things." More pirates appeared behind him. They all carried weapons and looked like they enjoyed using them. "Drop your tools and surrender," the lead pirate ordered. "We might let you live." "I don't think so," Lyra said calmly. The pirate laughed. "What's a pretty little elf going to do? Dance at us?" Lyra moved faster than Jake had ever seen anyone move. Her sword cut through the air with a singing sound. The lead pirate's weapon fell to the ground in 2 pieces. He stared at it in shock. "That was your only warning," Lyra said. The other pirates opened fire. Lyra's sword became a blur of light, deflecting energy bolts back at the attackers. 2 pirates fell immediately. The others scrambled for cover. Zara's crystal body began to glow. Beams of focused light shot from her hands, cutting through the pirate's cover like it was paper. Her aim was perfect. "Keep working, Jake!" Lyra shouted over the sound of weapons fire. "We'll handle this!" Jake forced himself to focus on the repair job while chaos erupted around him. Sparks flew from damaged circuits. His hands moved quickly, connecting wires and replacing burned-out components. A pirate got past Lyra's defense and aimed his weapon at Jake. Before he could fire, Zara stepped between them. The energy bolt hit her crystal body and shattered harmlessly, but the impact sent cracks through her crystalline form. Purple light leaked from the fractures. "Zara!" Jake called out. I'm damaged but functional," she replied, though her voice sounded strained. More pirates poured into the corridor. There were too many of them. Lyra fought with incredible skill, but she was starting to get tired. Her sword movements became slightly slower. Jake finished the main repair and slammed the panel shut. The lights in the corridor flickered and then blazed to life. Throughout the station, weapon systems came back online. Defense grid restored. Commander Park's voice crackled through the communication system. "All weapons are operational." The station's big guns opened fire. Through the walls, they could hear the pirate ships taking heavy damage. Several explosions shook the station as pirate vessels were destroyed, but the fight in the corridor wasn't over. The remaining pirates fought with desperate fury. They knew they were trapped. One pirate got lucky. His shot grazed Lyra's shoulder and she stumbled. Another pirate saw his chance and lunged at her with a metal blade. Jake didn't think. He grabbed a heavy wrench from his toolkit and threw himself at the pirate. They crashed into the wall together. The pirate was bigger and stronger, but Jake fought with the fury of someone protecting what he cared about. The pirate's blade cut across Jake's chest. Pain shot through him, but he kept fighting. He had to protect Lyra and Zara. Lyra recovered quickly and finished off the remaining pirates with a series of precise strikes. When the last enemy fell, silence filled the corridor except for the sound of heavy breathing. "Jake!" Lyra ran to where he sat against the wall, holding his wounded chest. "I'm okay," he gasped. "Just a scratch." "That is not a scratch," Zara said, examining the wound. Her cracked form flickered with weak light. "You need medical attention." "So do you," Jake pointed out. "Those cracks look serious." Zara placed her hands on Jake's chest. Her crystal form glowed brighter, and Jake felt a warm, tingling sensation. The pain began to fade. "Zephyrian healing crystals," she explained. "I can repair both biological and crystalline damage." As she healed him, Jake felt something strange. It was like a gentle touch in his mind, warm and comforting. Zara's consciousness briefly connected with his. "What was that?" he asked. "A side effect of the healing process," Zara said softly. "Our minds touched for a moment. It creates a bond between us." Lyra knelt beside them. "Jake, why did you risk yourself for me? You could have been killed." Jake looked at both women. Lyra with her golden hair disheveled from battle, her eyes full of concern. Zara with her crystal form cracked, but still beautiful, her purple light pulsing gently. "Because you're important to me," he said simply. "Both of you." "The feeling is mutual?" Lyra said quietly. "For me as well," Zara added. Commander Park's voice came through the communication system again. "All pirates have been destroyed or captured. Station is secure. Excellent work, everyone." They made their way back through the station slowly. Zara's crystal form was healing itself, but the process took time. Jake's chest still ached despite the healing. Lyra supported both of them as they walked. "That was incredible fighting," Jake said to Lyra. "You were not so bad yourself," she replied with a small smile. "Though next time, perhaps let the trained warrior handle the combat." "Next time?" Jake asked. "Do you think this was the only danger we will face?" Lyra's expression was serious. "Prince Aldrich will not give up easily, and there are always threats in space." "Then we face them together," Zara said. Her voice was stronger now as her crystal form repaired itself. Back in Jake's apartment, they sat around the kitchen table drinking coffee and treating their remaining injuries. The attack had lasted only 2 hours, but it felt like a lifetime. "I have been thinking," Zara said. "The way we fought together today was remarkable. We moved like we had trained as a team for years." "It felt natural," Lyra agreed. "Like we were meant to work together." Jake nodded. During the battle, there had been moments when he knew exactly what the others were thinking. They had moved in perfect coordination without speaking. "Is that normal?" he asked. "Not normal at all," Zara replied. "Among my people, such coordination only occurs between those who are deeply bonded." "Bonded how?" Zara's crystal features shifted in what might have been a blush. "In ways that are difficult to explain. Emotional bonds, spiritual connections, what humans might call love." The word hung in the air between them. Jake felt his heart beating faster. He looked at Lyra, who was staring into her coffee cup. "I should probably tell you both something," Jake said slowly. "I'm starting to care. About you, both of you, more than I should." 2 weeks after the pirate attack, Jake woke up to the smell of burning food. He rushed to the kitchen to find Lyra standing over the stove, looking frustrated. Smoke poured from a pan of what used to be eggs. "I was trying to make breakfast," she said sadly. "I wanted to surprise you." Jake turned off the heat and opened the window to let out the smoke. It's the thought that counts. I am a failure at domestic tasks, Lyra said. Perhaps Aldrich was right. Maybe I am only good for royal ceremonies and sword fighting. Hey, Jake turned to face her. Aldrich doesn't know anything about you. You've learned more in 2 weeks than most people learn in months. Zara floated into the kitchen, her crystal form glowing with amusement. I have observed that humans often burn food when they are distracted by emotional concerns. I am not distracted, Lyra protested. Really? Zara tilted her head. Then why did you add salt instead of sugar to the coffee yesterday? Lyra's face turned pink. That was an accident. Jake poured fresh coffee for all of them. What's really bothering you, Lyra? She sat down heavily at the table. I have been thinking about my future, about what I want from life. And I do not want to return to the Elven court. I do not want to marry Prince Aldrich or any other nobleman chosen for me. She looked directly at Jake. I want to stay here, with you, with both of you. Jake's heart started beating faster. Lyra, but I do not know if that is what you want, she continued. You have been kind to me, but perhaps that is just human politeness. Zara made a soft chiming sound. Jake Morrison, your emotional state has been highly unusual since the night of the attack. Your biorhythms indicate significant internal conflict. Thanks for the analysis, Jake said dryly. What kind of conflict? Lyra asked. Jake sat down across from her. The kind where I care about both of you more than I've ever cared about anyone, and I don't know what to do about it. Why do you need to do anything? Zara asked. Among my people, emotional bonds are accepted as they form naturally. It's not that simple for humans, Jake said. We have rules about relationships. Society expects certain things. What things? Lyra wanted to know. Like, one person with one other person, traditional marriages, normal families. And we are not normal, Lyra said quietly. No, we're not. And I keep thinking that I should help you both find your own paths. Lyra, you could go anywhere, do anything. Zara, you have important diplomatic work. But what if our paths lead back to you? Zara asked. Before Jake could answer, his communication terminal chimed. A message appeared on the screen from station. Commander Park. Jake, I need to see you in my office immediately. Bring Princess Lyra and Ambassador Zara. We have a situation. 20 minutes later, they stood in Commander Park's office. The station commander looked tired and worried. Behind her desk, a large screen showed official documents covered in legal text. We have a problem, she said without preamble. The Elven High Court has filed a formal complaint with the Galactic Council. They're demanding Princess Lyra's immediate return. On what grounds? Zara asked. They claim the betrothal contract was obtained through fraud and deception. They want it declared invalid. Jake felt a cold weight in his stomach. What does that mean for Lyra? If the court rules in their favor, she would be required to return to Elven space and marry Prince Aldrich. The alternative would be exile from Elven society forever. Lyra straightened her shoulders. Then I choose exile. It's not that simple. Commander Park continued. The Elven court has also claimed that Jake Morrison used illegal technology to win the wager. They're demanding a formal investigation. Illegal technology? Jake was confused. I used a molecular rebuilder. It's completely legal. Not according to Elven law. They claim that any technology that exceeds Elven capabilities is inherently unfair in a contest with elves. That's ridiculous, Zara said. By that logic, elves could never lose any competition. The Galactic Council has agreed to hold a formal hearing, Commander Park said. All 3 of you are required to attend. When? Jake asked. In 3 days, on the neutral world of Harmony Station. That evening, Jake sat on his small balcony looking out at the stars. His mind was spinning with worry. Everything they had built together could be destroyed by lawyers and ancient laws. Lyra joined him outside. She had changed into a simple dress that Jake had bought for her. She looked beautiful and sad. Are you afraid? She asked. Terrified, Jake admitted. I could lose both of you. You will not lose me, Lyra said firmly. Whatever the courts decide, I will not return to Aldrich. Even if it means giving up your whole family, your home world, everything you've ever known. Lyra was quiet for a long moment. The palace was never truly my home. My family arranged my marriage to strengthen political alliances. They never asked what I wanted. And what do you want? She turned to look at him. In the starlight, her golden eyes seemed to glow. I want a life where I matter to someone, where I can be useful and needed and cared for. I want to wake up every morning knowing that the people around me chose to be there. Jake felt his throat tighten with emotion. Lyra. I love you, Jake Morrison, she said simply. I love your kindness and your strength, and the way you treat everyone with respect. I love how you make me feel like I can be myself instead of just a title. Before Jake could respond, Zara appeared beside them. Her crystal form pulsed with gentle light. I apologize for interrupting, she said, but I believe this conversation concerns me as well. How so? Jake asked. Because I have also developed feelings for you. For both of you. Zara's voice was soft. The healing bond we share has grown into something deeper. Jake looked at both women. This is crazy. I'm just a mechanic from Earth. You're a princess and an ambassador. You both deserve better than this. Better than what? Lyra asked. Better than being happy? Better than being with someone who doesn't know how to handle a relationship with one person, let alone two. Zara moved closer. Jake Morrison, you saved my life during the pirate attack. You have given Princess Lyra freedom and purpose. You treat us as equals despite our different backgrounds. How is that not worthy? Because I'm scared, Jake said, honestly. I'm scared that I'll mess this up. I'm scared that the courts will take you away. I'm scared that I don't deserve either of you. Lyra took his hand. Fear is normal, but hiding from happiness because you are afraid is not living. My people have a saying, Zara added. Light shared between crystals grows brighter, not dimmer. Jake looked at their hands holding his. Lyra's was warm and soft. Zara's was smooth and cool but somehow comforting. If the court rules against us, he said slowly, what happens then? Then we face it together, Lyra said. All three of us. But what if they force you to leave? They cannot force me to do anything, Lyra said with steel in her voice. I am not property to be traded. I am a person with the right to choose my own path. And I will support that choice, Zara added. Zephyrian law recognizes individual autonomy above all other considerations. The next morning, a new message arrived from Captain Nina Cross, Jake's old friend from his military days. She was requesting permission to dock at Haven's Rest Station. When her ship arrived, Nina stepped off wearing her crisp uniform and carrying a serious expression. She was a tall woman with short brown hair and intelligent eyes. Jake had served under her command during the war. Jake, she said, giving him a firm handshake. I hear you've gotten yourself into some interesting trouble. News travels fast. The whole galaxy is talking about the human who won an elven princess in a bet. Nina looked at Lyra and Zara. I can see why. Nina Cross, meet Princess Lyra. And Ambassador Zara. Ladies, this is Captain Nina Cross, one of the finest officers in the human fleet. Captain, Lyra said politely. Ambassador, Nina replied with equal courtesy. Princess, I actually came here to offer my assistance. How so? Jake asked. The Galactic Council has asked me to serve as a neutral military advisor for the hearing. Since I know your character and capabilities, I can provide testimony about your integrity. Thank you, Jake said gratefully. Don't thank me yet. I've also seen the Elven legal documents. Prince Aldrich has some powerful allies backing him. This won't be easy. That afternoon, Nina joined them for lunch in Jake's small apartment. She observed the easy way the three of them moved around each other, sharing tasks and conversation. This is unusual, she said finally. The whole situation? Jake asked. No, the way you three fit together. I've seen a lot of partnerships in my time, but this is something different. Different how? Zara wanted to know. You complement each other perfectly. Jake's practical skills, Lyra's warrior training, Zara's diplomatic knowledge. You cover each other's weaknesses and amplify each other's strengths. Is that unusual? Lyra asked. It's rare. Most relationships are based on attraction or convenience. This looks like something deeper. Jake felt a warm glow in his chest. Nina, can I ask you something personal? Shoot. Do you think it's wrong? the three of us together like this? Nina considered the question seriously. Wrong, according to who? Earth society, elven tradition, Zephyrian culture? Every species has different rules about relationships. According to you. Your personal opinion. My personal opinion is that happiness is hard to find in this galaxy. If you three have found it together, anyone who tries to take it away is the one doing something wrong. Harmony Station was massive. Its crystal spires reached into space like frozen lightning. Ships from dozens of different worlds docked at its many ports. The Galactic Council met here to settle disputes between species. Jake stood in the main courtroom with Lyra and Zara beside him. The room was enormous, with seats for hundreds of observers. Representatives from 12 different species sat on the council bench. Their alien faces were impossible to read. Prince Aldrich sat at a table, across the room with 3 lawyers in expensive robes. He looked confident and smug. When he saw Lyra, he smiled coldly. Citizens Morrison, Lyra, and Zara, the chief counselor announced. Her voice echoed through the vast chamber. You stand accused of obtaining a legal contract through fraudulent means. How do you plead? Jake's lawyer, a sharp-eyed human woman named Kate Adams, stood up. Not guilty, Your Honor. We maintain that the contract was won fairly according to the terms agreed upon by both parties. Prince Aldrich's lead lawyer rose. He was an elf with silver hair and cruel eyes. Your Honor, the defendant used illegal technology to gain an unfair advantage. This violates the sacred traditions of elven honor duels. The contest was not an honor duel, Kate Adams replied. It was a simple wager about mechanical repair skills. A wager that Prince Aldrich entered into while intoxicated by alien wine, the elven lawyer continued. He was not capable of making sound decisions. Chief Counselor turned to Prince Aldrich. Prince Starweaver, were you aware of your mental state when you made this wager? Aldrich stood up. I was perfectly aware, Your Honor, but I did not expect the human to cheat. How exactly did I cheat? Jake asked, standing despite his lawyer's warning look. You used technology that no elf could duplicate. That makes the contest inherently unfair. So if I'm better at something than you are, that's cheating? Prince Aldrich's face turned red. Humans are inferior beings. You cannot be better at anything. Murmur went through the courtroom. Several council members exchanged glances. Your Honor, Kate Adams said smoothly, I believe Prince Starweaver has just revealed his true motivation for this lawsuit. The chief counselor nodded. Indeed. Prince Starweaver, please explain why elven superiority should be legally protected. Because it is natural law, Aldrich sputtered. Elves are the oldest and most advanced species. More advanced. Than the Zephyrians? The chief counselor asked. Their civilization is older than yours. More advanced than the Crystalline Collective? Asked another council member. They have technologies you have never imagined. Prince Aldrich looked around the room desperately. But the human used a machine. I was limited to magic and traditional tools. Did anyone prevent you from using technology? Kate Adams asked. No, but did Mr. Morrison prevent you from using whatever methods you preferred? No, but elves do not use such crude devices. So you chose to limit yourself to magic, lost the contest fairly, and now want the courts to overturn the result because you don't like it? Prince Aldrich sat down heavily. His lawyers whispered urgently in his ears. The chief counselor turned to Lyra. Princess Moon Whisper, what is your position on this matter? Lyra stood gracefully. She had dressed in her finest elven gown for the hearing, but she wore it like armor. Your Honor, I wish to address several points. Proceed. First, Prince Aldrich did make the wager freely and while fully aware of his actions. I tried to stop him, but he refused to listen. Second, Mr. Morrison won the contest fairly using his own skills and equipment. There was no deception or fraud. Third, I do not wish to return to Prince Aldrich or to Elven society. I choose to remain with Mr. Morrison and Ambassador Zara. A shocked gasp went through the elven section of the courtroom. Prince Aldrich leaped to his feet. She cannot choose, he shouted. She has promised to me. It is elven law. This is not elven space, the chief counselor said calmly. Galactic law applies here. But the betrothal contract. is a legal document that can be honored or voided according to galactic statute. The chief counselor turned to Zara. Ambassador, does your government have a position on this matter? Zara rose, her crystal form catching the light beautifully. Your Honor, the Zephyrian Republic strongly supports individual autonomy in matters of personal relationships. We believe that no one should be forced into marriage against their will, even when bound by legal contracts, especially then. A contract that forces unwilling partnership is slavery, not marriage. The chief counselor nodded thoughtfully. Captain Cross, you have been asked to provide character testimony. Please proceed. Nina stood up in her crisp uniform. Your Honor, I have known Jake Morrison for 8 years. He served under my command during the border wars. I have never known a more honest or honorable person. Can you speak to his technical abilities? Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Morrison designed several innovations that saved countless lives during the war. His skills are exceptional by any standard. Thank you, Captain. The chief counselor turned to the full council. We will now deliberate. The council members spoke in low voices for 20 minutes. Jake felt sweat running down his back despite the cool air in the courtroom. Lyra squeezed his hand. Zara's crystal form pulsed with nervous energy. Finally, the chief counselor stood. We have reached our decision. The courtroom fell silent. In the matter of the betrothal contract, we find that it was obtained legally and fairly. Mr. Morrison won the wager through superior skill, not fraud. Prince Aldrich's face went white. However, the chief counselor continued, we also find that Princess Moonwhisper, as a sentient being, has the right to choose her own future. The contract is legally valid but morally questionable. Jake's heart sank. They had won and lost at the same time. Therefore, we hereby declare the betrothal contract null and void. Princess Moonwhisper is free to make her own choices about marriage and residence. Relief flooded through Jake. Lyra smiled brilliantly. Zara's crystal form blazed with happy light. Furthermore, the chief counselor added, we find Prince Starweaver's behavior in this matter to be unbecoming of a diplomatic representative. The Elven court will be notified of our concerns. Prince Aldrich stood up angrily. This is outrageous. You cannot. Prince Starweaver, you are in contempt of this council. Security will escort you from the premises. 2 large security guards. Moved toward Aldrich. He looked around wildly, then stalked from the courtroom without another word. After the hearing, Jake, Lyra, and Zara stood in the station's central plaza. The artificial sunlight felt warm on their faces. So what happens now? Jake asked. Now we are free to choose our own path, Lyra said happily. And what path is that? Zara stepped closer to both of them. I have been thinking about this. My government has offered me a permanent position here on Harmony Station. I could establish a Zephyrian cultural center. That sounds amazing, Jake said. But what about us? I was hoping you would come with me. Both of you. Jake looked at Lyra. What do you think? I think it sounds perfect. We could start fresh, build something new together. The 3 of us? The 3 of us, Lyra confirmed. That evening, they sat in a restaurant overlooking Harmony Station's vast gardens. Ships came and went in the distance like moving stars. I have a proposal, Zara said over dinner. What kind of proposal? Jake asked. A formal one. Among my people, we have ceremonies to recognize family bonds that are not based on biology or traditional marriage. Family bonds? Lyra asked. Chosen family. People who commit to caring for each other, supporting each other, and building a life together. Zara's crystal features shifted into a smile. I would like to propose that the 3 of us formalize our relationship this way. Jake felt his heart racing. Are you asking us to become a family, officially, in the eyes of galactic law? Lyra reached across the table and took both their hands. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Jake looked at both women. Lyra with her golden hair shining in the restaurant lights, her warrior's grace softened by genuine happiness. Zara with her crystal beauty and gentle wisdom, her alien nature somehow making her more precious, not less. Yes, he said simply. 2 weeks later, they stood in the same courtroom where they had won their freedom. But this time, it was filled with friends and well-wishers. Captain Nina Cross was there, along with Commander Park from Haven's Rest. Even some of Jake's regular customers had come to celebrate. The ceremony was simple but beautiful. They exchanged vows to care for each other, to face challenges together, and to build a life based on love and mutual respect. Do you, Jake Morrison, choose Lyra Moonwhisper and Zara of the Zephyrian people as your family? I do. Do you, Lyra Moonwhisper, choose Jake Morrison and Zara of the Zephyrian people as your family? I do. Do you, Zara of the Zephyrian people, choose Jake Morrison and Lyra Moonwhisper as your family? I do. Then by the authority of the Galactic Council, I declare you a recognized family unit under galactic law. The courtroom erupted in applause. Jake felt tears in his eyes as he kissed both his wives. They were really his wives now, in every way that mattered. 6 months later, Jake stood in his new workshop on Harmony Station. It was 3 times larger than his old shop, with the latest equipment and tools. The sign outside read, Morrison, Family Technical Services. Lyra was training a group of young people in basic combat techniques. She had started a security training program that was popular with all species.